Sir, your main task really is to work with the local water districts, right? You mentioned a number a while ago. How many are they across the country? And how are they doing with the task of ensuring every household with potable water? Where are we at now? How are they doing?
There are 532 water districts across the country.
Okay.
It is situated in the different cities and municipalities.
Okay.
About 648 cities and municipalities throughout the country.
Okay.
We are serving about, again, as I've said earlier, about 5.4 million households or about 22.3 million population.
Okay.
And there are categories for water districts.
Okay.
There's A, B, C, and D.
Okay.
On the level D, that is 3,000 and below connections to the households.
Okay.
3,000 to 10,000, that's category B, or category C.
Okay.
10,000 to 30,000, that's category B. And more than 30,000, that's category A.
Okay.
And amongst this water districts also, there's also the categorization on the underdeveloped,
Okay.
the developing, and the developed.
Okay.
So we have to categorize this because we have to ensure that there's enough cash flow for them. It's a bit business way of doing things already.
You were saying that they're also GOCCs in themselves, right?
Yeah, so they have to be treated like a government owned and controlled corporation.
Right.
So they should have at least 3 months of cash flow that for them to operate. So those are our benchmarking for it. Right. And that's why on this small, like any business, it's all about the scale. If they're small, there's a lot of challenges that goes with it.
Sure.
But if they're already big, they can already easily just develop their water districts.
Sure.
It's just like a business that we're talking about. So, but then what's important with this is that since water, we are talking about development. Okay. We are also talking about affordability. So that's where the social costs, it should be the cost should be socially acceptable by the people.
Right. So one of LWUA's services is you provide loans, right, for the local water utilities. Are these for infrastructure, like say pipes? Are they for capacity building? Is it for simply bridge financing, or is it a combination of these things that you evaluate and you decide or factor in your decision to give out loans?
Since we are a primarily financing institution as LWUA, that's our mandate. We are focusing more on the development of the water districts.
I see.
So it should
making them more profitable, sustainable.
Making more sustainable. So how do we do this? We have to ensure that they must have enough source of water.
Yeah.
They should allocate their capital based on that.
Right.
And there must be enough transmission lines directly to the households. And at the same time, regarding the sustainability, they should lessen their non-revenue water. So it means that they should not waste the water. That's the meaning of that. We have a benchmark that they should not go beyond 20% as a benchmark for non-revenue water.
Yeah.
So those are the standards that we're having. And also because we're also doing financing, we have to ensure that it should be safe. It means it should be healthy for the population.
Okay.
So there must be proper treatment on the sources of water, and at the same time in ensuring that we are compliant with our environmental issues.
Right.
We are also ensuring that the water that are used should be when it returns back to nature, it should be safe, and it should be at the same time treated already as that it will be okay to return back to the environment as a
there's some treatment
treatment that goes with it already.
So is it accurate to say that you focus on the class D's and C's because they're the smaller ones, as you said, because you were saying earlier the class A they have a big enough market, or do you really help all of them? That they have varying needs, and that LWUA comes in and helps them with their particular particular need? What is more correct?
We help all the water districts.
So it's for everyone, really?
It's really for everyone.
Okay.
But we have to ensure that, funds are limited.
Sure.
So we have to prioritize.
Yeah.
We have to prioritize. We have to continuously prioritize that, ensuring that there's expansion of their service coverage.
Right.
It's very important for us.
Okay.
Lessening their non-revenue water.
Right.
Because it's very important for sustainability. We don't want to be wasting water.
Right.
If you already have your transmissions. We also want to ensure that they're operationalizing the non-operational water districts, but some of the water districts already did not really survive with their operations. So we have to help them too. And now we have to ensure that they are compliant with septage and sanitary laws of our country.
Right. But what is the financial condition of the water districts? Are they sustainable? I mean, finance-wise, I mean, particularly the smaller ones. And as you said, part of their burden really is, despite the fact that they're government, they really have to look after affordability as well. They just can't unilaterally raise their rates because they need to take care of every Filipino household, right? But how are they doing? What is the financial health of our water districts?
They are performing well too.
Okay.
The water districts, because they have to ensure that in their operations there's enough capitalization,
right,
in ensuring that they're able to expand their operations,
right,
and there's enough money for their personal services, for their maintenance and other operating expense.
Right.
So they are being treated like a corporate way of doing things.
Okay.
And because of that, but then the good thing with having a GOCC is that they are becoming more of an institution, rather than a political side of it only. So it's an institution that they have to think always what will be the effect to the population.
I see.
And that's part of our regulatory mandate at LWUA, that because every month they have to comply with their submissions to us regarding their sources of water, what's happening with their operations, and also regarding also their finances. We have to see that they're operating at least 3 months of cash flow. But we always look at their projection for the next year or 5 years.
Right.
And regarding the tariff rates, it's very challenging now.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of increases, especially the fuel. It is a big cost for the operations of the water district, and of course the consumer price index, they're increasing, and there's the inflation. So a lot of water districts are now asking for some tariff rates increase, but before they do this, it should be done through a public hearing. And of course, all the stakeholders, be it the consumers, the political leaders, they have to be consulted, and it will be reviewed by us what is the best social cost for the water district for them to be able to ask as a fee for their services.
Yeah. You were mentioning earlier South Korea, and you were saying that you saw the system there, and that you were marveling at the capacity of their water districts. Talk about that a little bit. What did you see, and then how do we compare? I know Korea is a first world country. We're still trying to be an upper middle country, but how do we compare as you see it?
They have a very strong institution in terms of water development.
Okay.
What they did is that they focused their resources only on 5 rivers.
Okay.
5 rivers.
Okay.
And by focusing their water development by building dams, weirs, and some other catchment basins, they're able now to provide 98% of the entire population of Korea.
Wow.
So that is what we envision for our country.
Okay.
We have a lot of river basins in our country.
Okay.
Now, in line with this, with our present conditions, we have identified a lot of rivers that can be the source of development for our water supply.
Okay.
And now we are talking about, again, as I've said earlier, about the Pampanga River Basin.
Okay, that's for Central Luzon.
Central Luzon. But there's also in Cagayan.
I see.
There's also in Bicol and two others in Mindanao.
I see.
But eventually, throughout the country, that will be the paradigm shift how we look at things. Because in our country, we usually only invest in flood controls.
Okay.
Because we treat water as a calamity during rains, or as a disaster, natural disaster. We don't use it as a resource.
Yeah,
it should be a resource for us. So for us, we should always look at how we treat water.
Right.
When it rains, in other countries they put catchment infrastructure for that. To ensure that these are their reservoirs, to ensure that there's water for security of their population. But in our country, we're only putting it on the side of the river, but rather than putting as reservoirs for our or dams for the use of domestic, for the use of the population and the households.
Has there been any study saying how much in monetary value that runoff that's wasted that goes to the river, or is that something that you're still looking into?
In our studies, every time that there's a typhoon that visits our country, we would like it to be to go directly to the sea.
Right.
But in other countries, they catch it. They catch it and they treat that water, and they use that as their water security.
Okay.
So that's how we should look at it now. Okay. Just imagine every time that a million cubic meters of water are being just washed out back to the sea every time it rains. So just imagine with a peso value that goes with it. I think every time that there's rains and we are not putting enough reservoirs for it, we're losing billions of pesos actually.
Wow.
Just imagine if every cubic meter is about 9 pesos.
Right.
So we're looking at hundreds of billions of cubic meters every time wasted, every time that there's flooding, that there's rains in our country. Right. So the message here is that we should a more paradigm shift in looking at how we treat our rains and our flooding.
Right.
Treat it as a resource.
Right.
This water as our resource rather than as a possible disaster.
So going back to the loans, is it mainly to subsidize the low rates of the water utilities so that they can continue offering affordable water, or is it to build more pipes or to, I guess, decrease the wastage? I think you were mentioning that there is a cap that you want 20%, right, on losses. What's the priority for LWUA there?
Our priority is to ensure that the water districts should be operating at its optimum.
Okay.
We look at the overall picture before we give out loans, just like any businesses.
Sure.
We look at their growing population, which is very important.
Sure.
Because we have to compute how many households will be connected with new transmissions.
Okay.
So we're looking also at the sources of water if there's an increase in population, and that's what we prioritize.
Okay.
And we give out a very socialized interest rates. Some of which are very, very low, way lower than the GFIs or than the commercial lendings for our country.
And we have to take another quick break, Attorney. But is it enough, or do you need? Or are you asking Congress for more? This is, of course, the budget season. Is there a request or from LWUA to increase its loanable funds?
Yes, now is the budget season, and the power of the purse is with Congress and the Senate. The executive had already passed the proposal to the Congress, and we are going to request our good lawmakers, if we really want to have a more sustainable water development for our country, we would like that budget should be allocated for the level 3 distribution of water, because a lot of the budgets are towards levels 1 and 2 only.
Sure.
And what is good 3 with putting a budget with the level 3, directly to the households is that it is more quantifiable, and there's the results. And this year we are requesting for at least 5 billion. So in the next 5 billion pesos. So in the next 5 years, before 2028, we'll be able to increase by 30% of our household connections throughout the country.
Okay.
And that is our answer to the call of our president to ensure that there's water security for our country.
So hopefully Congress is listening.